Well, hello again, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. This is We Are the Game. I'm looking at Michael, and we're going to talk about Dallas's game against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night that just happened. Came down to the wire, 40-40. Just a weird tie that everyone always feels funny about. How do you feel, Michael? What do you like about this?
First off, I don't think anyone feels good after a tie.
Mm.
There's no way that Green Bay fans, sorry to speak for you, but there's no way Bay fans came out of that game feeling good that they walked away from that with a tie. And similarly, Dallas fans don't feel good because you walked away with a tie. Ties suck. Just throwing it out there. Now that we've covered that, what went good? Well, one of the things I said that I feel like, sadly, Dallas has to have to compete right now is a shootout. Like we have got to put points on the board because, as it turns out, and you may have pointed out previously, um, if something happens a couple times, maybe it's just a thing. Once it happens 3 or 4 times, it's like, well, no, this is a real truth. Dallas has a lot of defensive problems, but let's stay on the positive for a second. Dak Prescott overall looked pretty good. Looked pretty good. No interceptions. I'll take any day where that happens. He threw 40 passes, which is a lot, but he completed 31 of them, partly because most of them were 2 yards. But got it done. And there were some wild ones. The one to Tolbert comes to mind where, Dak just hurls it down the right sideline and Tolbert cuts all the way back and like keeps his toes in and catches. We needed a few miracles. We needed a couple miracles, but we were still in it. And it was kind of ours. It's kind of ours still. We had a real chance there. The defense kind of had its ups and down moments. They had moments where it was like, they're going to break, and then they would just only be bending. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on there. Javonte Williams got another 20 touches. I just really like what we're seeing from him. He got another touchdown, got another 80 yards rushing. I think he's now number 6 in yardage in the league. I think that's significantly better than I would have anticipated coming into this year. And Dak now leads in yards, which is great. That'll give him no love whatsoever with Stephen A. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of positives there. I think we also spread the ball around still pretty good. Ferguson got some touches. Flournoy always finds his way in there. Tolbert, Turpin. So it was an exciting game. You have to admit that. It had my blood pressure up pretty much the entire time. What stuck out to you?
Well, I mean, for positives, the passing game. When we talked about the Cardinals, we talked about becoming one-dimensional, and that's not good. But if you got to be one-dimensional, as long as you make it work, then, I mean, okay, it's just you're rolling the dice awfully hard. Well, similarly, right. You got forced at the end of the game in particular into like, hey, we got to pass because we got to catch up and we don't have much time. And you did. So power to you for backs against the wall. You did some of the great things. The run game is working even better than I thought it would. I liked some of what I saw from Javonte, both in Denver and in UNC before that, back in college days. So I'm impressed, but I'm not utterly shocked. But it is the best. I don't say the best version of him. He could theoretically get better. I just mean like it is surprised me. It's been on the positive side of expectations. So those are some of the positives. But let's get into some of the negatives of like what kind of held you back from this not being just a tie, but a victory. Hey, hang on, there's actually a quick update here. Oh, Romeo Doubs scored another touchdown. So just on that note, I'll hand off to you. What were some of the negatives that stood out to you in this game?
Well, it's funny. Romeo Doubs just seems to disappear whenever he's playing against the Cowboys. He just shows up in places and nobody had any idea he was there. My hat's off to him. It's not like he had 200 yards receiving. He had maybe 60-ish yards, but 3 touchdowns, right? If you're going to be open, the red zone might be the right place to do it, and he definitely was. It is very frustrating to watch him be open over and over again. And it reminded me that a couple of years ago when we were in the playoffs and Green Bay was a surprise win in that game against us. I was like, man, there was somebody in that game. We just could not keep track of him. And sure enough, when I went back and looked, it was Romeo Doubs. I would think next game we play against Green Bay, whenever that is, we need to keep a closer eye on him. So my hat's off to him on that. Their leading receiver, though, really was Josh Jacobs. And this was Josh Jacobs' game on offense. This is really Jordan was great. Jordan was fine. But this was Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs ran like Derrick Henry. He ran big. Like he was hard to take down. He caught the ball well out of the backfield. Like he did everything right in this game. Got himself a couple touchdowns. But I really think he's what made this game work for them. We really struggled to take him down. I think maybe the most effective person I saw in bring him down was our newly acquired Jadeveon Clowney, who caught up a couple times. But if anytime a defensive end is catching up or that outside linebacker, it's you've already got 3 or 4 yards, because it's taken them that long to catch you. So, yeah, my hat's off to Josh Jacobs. Like I don't appreciate you doing it against us, but nice job. So again, on some level, it's like, man, if you take out the running back running for getting all those passing yards, it's like, we'd have given up 240 yards passing. There's some positives there somewhere. I also, clearly Bland was not at 100% out there. You could see him, it seemed like favoring that foot some at times. I still think he's a step up over anyone behind him. And Diggs, I think, wasn't 100% either. So, yeah, there's definitely things there. The other, a positive there on defense side would also be Donovan Ezeraku, who was flying around. I think we got to see a little bit of like, okay, this is a look of how much of an impact he can have and he's going to have as he continues to mature. That part was really exciting to fit him in kind of with the defensive tackle group that we have there. Be pretty exciting going forward. So there were some positive. Let me put it this way, maybe is a better way of saying it. It's my job as a Dallas Cowboys fan to be an eternal optimist for them. And there were things that they gave, I think, in that game that help with that, rather than trying to come up, dig really deep to find them. So that's how I viewed it. But the things that went poorly still felt like a little bit of the long ball, a little bit of that, but it's really just losing Dobbs in the middle of our coverage. So I don't know. What did you see it differently there?
No, not really. It's I don't say the same old thing, but it's like the same story we've been talking about since that Giants game, where it's like that was an awful lot of yards you gave up deep there, and so there was some of that. It wasn't all just like 40-yard bombs, but it was long plays, and so there seems to be something of a vulnerability there. Whatever exactly is the cause, which I guess is kind of my next question here. Looking at that problem or any of the problems in particular that you just brought up, what's the fix? Is the fix bring in a player, like try to trade for someone, or just reinforce with a specific type of player? It doesn't even need to be a specific person, but you see a problem. It's our safeties not playing particularly well, or our linebacker, or what? Give me like a kind of spot fix for one of those bigger problems. And it can't be, hey, let's go get Pat Surtain, because for sure he's available.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I still think I'm still unsure which of the three problems it really is. Is this a defensive scheme problem, right? Where that's still the problem, is that we can shift things up and cover deep, but we give up everything else. Or hey, we can lock things down on the line and not give up any runs or any running yards. Or is this a personnel issue where, who was it, Sanborn and all those guys were just not, not effective. They're just not the right guys for all of that. Kenneth Murray, I really liked some of the things I've seen from him. So I don't want it to be personnel. I want it to be a scheme, because look, if it's a scheme problem, that's adjustable, that's fixable, right? If it's personnel, that's a lot harder to fix in a lot of ways. So I guess I'm hoping it's more of a scheme issue and that we're going to figure that out. But it does not, like you pointed out, this does not seem like it's it's one-dimensional.
Right.
For a while, we've been saying, man, we're getting murdered in the long ball. Now it's like, well, either Josh Jacobs had a really big game or whatever adjustment we just made opened things up underneath. It's hard to – I'm still not convinced of where the problem really is. Because again, in our first game against one of the best teams in the NFL, arguably the best team in the NFL, we really held things pretty well in a lot of different areas, running and passing. So it's hard to say for sure, I think, yet what where exactly that problem is. Now this next week, if we give up 300, 400 yards to the Jets, and it's all long passes or something like that, I'll be willing to make considerably more bold statements about where the problems are, because they are not exactly looking their best.
No, and
But yeah,
it's a problem that, like you say, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it and just see if there's some change in. Maybe you've just played against the right teams that have strengths where you're not, maybe not even weaknesses, but not strengths, and so they're just playing well into their ability. But I guess time will tell. So the obvious, I guess we should state it so that we're not viewed as having just blinders on or having a blind spot. Rather, is it's possible maybe that the absence of Micah Parsons is not creating as much pressure as you have 5 sacks in 4 games. Starting to look like the Arizona Cardinals defense now. Come on. But we'll see. Obviously, that's going to have some repercussions. I do think the run game's been a little better, but that's a weird trade-off. And now you're getting a bunch of deep passes. So again, we'll see. This will be a good week to try to make those stats look a little better on the year.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be a good time. So next week, as y'all play the Jets, I'm really hoping that y'all don't have any weird injuries, as Jets field is falling under some scrutiny at the moment. So Malik Neighbors comes back better than ever.
Yep.
Okay, so that all being said, thanks everyone for joining us today. We had fun, kinda, talking about this weird Dallas Green Bay tie. We look forward to getting into next week's game, hopefully talking about a Dallas win. Until then, would appreciate a like and a subscribe if anyone cares to join us again. And for everyone who already has, a big thank you. We really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun doing this. So I hope that you all have a fantastic week and also a great